You ever hear of Yazidis? Most of us hadn't until ISIS began to rampage throughout that part of the Middle East, and they found these peace-loving people who were sort of Muslim, but they weren't 100% Orthodox Muslim. And they began to kill the men, cut their heads off, and then take their women, especially their girls, and sell them either for brides or what they call sex slaves. Now, the girl we're going to meet now, 19-year-old, was sold as such a slave. She got sold for $800. He was a 14-year-old boy forced into training to be a jihadist. Both were teenage prisoners of ISIS, and both of them escaped recently, and they told their horrific stories to our Chris Mitchell, who was at a Yazidi refugee camp inside Kurdistan.
In just one day, thousands of Yazidis went from living in their ancient homeland to a UN refugee camp like this one. After ISIS captured Sinjar, the main city of the Yazidis, most of them live now in camps like this. Nearly 20,000 live in this one alone. But a few here have made the harrowing escape out of the hands of ISIS.
So when they were selling us girls, the buyer would come in to take his slave. If any of us refused, they would beat us very badly. No one went with the buyers willingly.
ISIS captured this 19-year-old girl who we named Nazda to protect her identity. She spent 10 months as a sex slave after ISIS sold her to an Arab man for the equivalent of $800 US.
The man was really bad. He treated me like an animal. He had 4 wives and they had no sympathy for me. I was beaten and treated very badly.
ISIS tried to convert Nazda to Islam and dealt harshly with anyone trying to help women like Nazda.
They brought 3 men into the ISIS court. They were accused of helping the women who had become Yazidi sex slaves. They killed them, beheaded them in front of us. They showed us that this is the fate of anybody trying to help you.
ISIS also captured hundreds of young boys, including 14-year-old Mamo.
They insulted us and told us we were unclean. They accused us of being blasphemers, unbelievers who didn't believe in Islam or Allah. They taught us the Quran and also trained us how to use heavy weapons. Later, they told us we should be jihadists just like them and convert to Islam.
After months of this indoctrination, Mamo miraculously escaped by convincing his captors he was ill. They put him with his mother, which gave them the opportunity to flee. These are pictures of what Mamo escaped. Here you have 32 young Yazidi boys posing with an Islamic State flag, and here they've already graduated. These are meant to be the jihadis of the next generation of the Islamic State. Their goal was clear:
to convert us, then to make us into jihadi, and then kill our own people, the Yazidis.
He also explained what ISIS told them their ultimate goals were.
They said we will not leave any place, even a small part of the world, without Islam.
Nazda heard the same goal.
They told me they are not a state of Mosul or Raqqa or anywhere. They said it's not a small state. Islamic State is a big state and can cover the whole world.
While Mamo escaped ISIS, many Yazidis like Nazda have been rescued through the efforts of men like Abdullah. He acts as a go-between for captured Yazidis by negotiating with their captors.
Before ISIS took over Sinjar, I used to buy and sell things inside Syria. Now, with my relationship with the people in Syria, I use that relationship to rescue people.
So far, Abdullah has rescued at least 138 Yazidis. I asked him the cost to rescue 1 or 2.
It depends. Sometimes we bring them for free without any money, sometimes for just $1,000, sometimes $5,000. It's different.
This is a screenshot that Abdullah showed me from a captured ISIS cell phone. It shows Twitter accounts where ISIS members can communicate between each other to buy and sell sex slaves. The Kurdish government set up this office to help rescue the nearly 6,000 captured Yazidis. So far, Hadi Dabani and his team have helped more than 2,000. They hear horrific stories.
Describing their situation is very hard. because some of the girls have told us they have had their hands tied for 3 months, have been harassed and forced to have sex. Imagine having sex with the mother in front of her son and then killing the son.
The plight of one 13-year-old brought Dubani to tears.
I tried very hard to rescue her. She's been married 5 times. She has also been imprisoned.
Success stories like Nazda make their efforts worthwhile, and Dubani pleads for more help.
Is it acceptable that the international community or the UN, who know that nearly 6,000 people have been kidnapped by ISIS and have experienced persecution, harassments, and treated like animals, keep silent? They don't make any steps to help.
The Kurdish offensive that retook Sinjar might alleviate some of their suffering. Until then, many Yazidis, like these small children, remain in refugee camps, and other Yazidis continue to languish in the clutches of ISIS. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Conclave Refugee Camp, Kurdistan.
It's heartrending, Chris, it's heartrending, and the man who described that couldn't help but break down in tears when he thinks of the plight of those girls. It's horrible what this outfit is doing, this ISIS. They are evil, nasty. You can use whatever term you want to. But like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, they are following the playbook of Muhammad. It's in the Quran. Beheading people, it's in the Quran. Having multiple wives, it's in the Quran. Beating your wives, it's in the Quran. It's all there. And I read just a couple of days ago somebody who himself was a Muslim, or he's from the Middle East anyhow, and he was saying, you see ISIS, but the father of ISIS is the Wahhabis in Saudi Arabia, and the mother of ISIS is the attack of the United States on Saddam Hussein. We stirred the thing up when we went into Iraq. But nevertheless, it isn't the United States that's doing these horrible things to people. We have a little booklet, by the way. You really need to understand what's happening. I see some of these people in debates and making statements. Some of the leadership saying, well, oh, Islam is a peaceful religion. Baloney. It is a political system based on world domination, and that's exactly what those 2 slaves from the Yazidis were saying, that as far as ISIS goes, the world is their territory, not some little part of the Middle East. It's the whole world. Anyhow, we'll give this to you if you want it. You really need to understand it. But in the meantime, pray for the Yazidis, pray for the Kurds, the people who are in the front line against this terrible force. And along the way, somehow, you pray that the President of the United States will wake up and see the horror that's being inflicted on the world. The United States must lead. There is no other power capable of leading the free world. And we have a leader who doesn't want to lead. He said, we'll lead from behind. No, we have to get out in front.